Couple of minutes past the top of the hour right now. Thanks for watching America's Voice Live and staying here for our second hour of the broadcast. I'm David Oliver. My friend and colleague Steve Gruber is off today, and today is Wednesday, the 20th of April, 2022. Let me get you a look at some of the big stories that we're covering right now in our second hour. The battle over parental rights is heating up all across the country. We had Heritage Action's Noah Weinrich on our show to talk about this earlier. We're going to show you some more of that coming up. Also, New York City is taking a winter wonderland and rolling it back to the 1940s. What's drawing tourists now once again to Rockefeller Center? That's on the way in our What Makes America Wonderful segment today. And you might want to think again about booking that summer vacation. Flights are about to get even more pricey. Just how much more cash you're going to have to pay to fly the friendly skies. It's coming up on the way. I want to play for you right now to begin things off this hour, a little bit of our interview that I did last hour with Heritage Action for America's Communications Director, Noah Weinrich. We were talking about the battle over parental rights in our country right now, particularly down in Florida, where Governor Ron DeSantis is taking on Disney. Take a listen. Let's talk about the issue here. We've seen a lot of headlines coming out of Florida. Obviously, a lot of opinions are going back and forth on the issue. Tell me about some of your first thoughts as we discuss the topic.
Of course. So, first thing is the Florida bill is common sense. It protects parental rights, makes sure that parents are the ones in charge of their kids' education and know what's happening with their kids' education. And it prohibits grades kindergarten through third grade from being taught sexual orientation and gender ideology. This is common sense. Most Floridians support this. Vast majority of Americans support this. But there has been a disinformation war from the left targeted at parental rights, targeted at this bill. Disney is a part of it. They have said it is their mission to stop this bill through the courts or through the legislature. So it seems like, again, common sense. If it is the mission of the company to go against Florida's democratic process, then they shouldn't get special handouts and carve-outs from the state.
I know that Heritage Action is in support right now of a federal bill that would strip the National Education Association of its congressional charter, a bill by Jim Banks out in Congress right now. Tell me about that bill and why you all are standing behind it and why you think it'll help this issue.
Of course. So similar to Florida, this is another way to fight back against the powerful institutions that are getting government carve-outs and are waging war on parental rights. The National Education Association is the largest teachers union in the country, one of the largest unions in the country, and it is one of the wokest unions in the country. It's headed by Randy Weingarten, and they have supported CRT being taught in the classroom. They have actually singled out Heritage and Heritage Action for our advocacy against CRT. They've come after us, and yet they are the only union in the country that receives a congressional charter. Why does a teachers union need to be chartered and get special privileges from the federal government, especially such a radical, leftist, anti-parent union as the NEA? This is a smart move, common sense. They don't deserve a congressional charter, especially when they are attacking America's parents.
And I was going to say, we're seeing this issue not just in Florida, it's playing out, Noah, across so many states in our country right now. You got a lot of blue states that are perhaps trying to take some of those rights away from parents, a lot of red states trying to protect the rights of parents to speak up about their children's education. What do you make about the nationwide movement we're seeing right now, and how can folks get involved in the fight besides just speaking up at those school board meetings?
It's a great question. Now, what we are seeing is the greatest grassroots movement since the Tea Party. This has the same energy. This is parents who are sick and tired of what's happening in their schools. They're seeing it firsthand. Now, this isn't just happening in California. It's not just happening in New York. It is coming to a school near you. In New Jersey, they're teaching first and second graders that even if they have boy parts, they can still be girls. I don't want my son learning that when he's a few years older in second grade. I'm sure your viewers don't either. So that's why Heritage Action is getting involved in states across the country, supporting parental rights, helping to organize folks to FOIA their school district, to send open records requests, to run for school board, to learn about what CRT is. You can find out more information at saveourschools.com. Saveourschools.com, that is Heritage Action's anti-CRT, pro-parent movement that's coming to a school board near you.
And obviously, we're seeing this issue play out too because a lot of states are looking at legislation. I say some states, I should say, some states looking at legislation right now that basically encourages kids to kind of consider and ponder their own gender identity at a pretty young age. Tell me what you're seeing with regard to that movement around the nation.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we saw that in New Jersey recently, trying to teach students as young as first grade to ponder their gender ideology, think about turning trans. We're seeing this in places like California, where they're mandating this training in young grades. They're mandating it for medical professionals too. You know, in California, if you don't sit through a long diversity, equity, and trans training about gender affirming care, then you can have your medical license taken away. And if you're a teacher who refuses to teach this kind of stuff, you can be kicked out of the teachers union. You can lose your job. So people are being forced to buy into this ideology that's held by a very small minority of the public, that kids can switch genders or switch sexes. You know, 5-year-olds, they're thinking about toy trucks and dinosaurs. They're not thinking about switching genders, and that's the way it should be. But that's not the way the left wants it to be.
Yeah. And I know you all are rallying there at Heritage Action for America, and you're trying to get other voices involved through your Save Our Schools movement and program and effort. Talk to our viewers about that and how they can get involved.
That's right. Save Our Schools, like I said, is our big campaign that we launched last year. We have an ebook about CRT. It's around 20 pages. You can just go to crtbook.com. Download that, learn about what CRT is, learn about what rights you have as a parent to fight back against CRT, trans ideology, all the rest. And saveourschools.com is the place you can go. You can sign up, learn about our trainings, learn how to run for school board, learn how to hold your school board accountable, hold your district and even state accountable to ensure that your child is receiving education and not indoctrination. And that is the point of the Save Our Schools movement.
And obviously, a lot of folks watching our broadcast are going to want to become more acquainted and perhaps get involved with that movement there you're talking about. You heard the website there, folks, and it's just amazing to think about, Noah, how much we're hearing about these issues, you know, parents having to battle back for their rights across these states. You didn't hear some of these issues where school boards were trying to indoctrinate kids into certain ideologies and beliefs maybe 20 or 30 years ago. It's really a trend as of late.
Yeah, it's really disappointing to see. And 90% of Americans' children go to public schools. Not everyone has the option to go to a private school or a charter school or even pick their public school. So it's important to ensure that no matter what school you go to, you have a voice. You can hold your school accountable. We're seeing this, like I said, not just in liberal enclaves, but all across America. The Democratic governors of Kansas and Wisconsin, which are not exactly far left states, just vetoed parental rights bills. They don't want parents to have their rights. They don't want parents to have control over their schools. They don't want parents to know what's happening in their children's schools. They don't support parents' rights. They are vetoing bills. They're campaigning against it, which is why not only do elections matter, but accountability matters. We want parents across the country to be equipped with the tools to hold these governors accountable for their war on parental rights.
Noah Weinrich, once again joining us in our first hour of the broadcast today, talking more about parental rights issues we're seeing across the country. The website, again, you can go to for more information and for details on how you can get involved is simply saveourschools.com.